General Director of Ukrposhta, Mr. Igor Tkachuk. We will discuss first 100 days of the state enterprise Ukrposhta, results and achievements. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, for attending my presentation on the achievements of my first 100 days in this position. I think that those achievements are numerous, and maybe it will be not so easy to cover them during this short period of time which we have. First of all, the state enterprise Ukrposhta in December was unprofitable, and annual report for 2014 reflected this fact. And nevertheless, today we are gradually becoming more and more profitable. I would like to explain you how we managed to earn this profit and what outstanding issues we still have in our work. Ukrposhta employs around 80,000 employees. These are those people who work 24/7. And this is because of our social function. Postmen and deliver letters and parcels every day. The first quarter of this year demonstrated some positive trends. Today we have signed an agreement with the Chinese partners which will allow us to earn additional 30-40 million hryvnia. Currently we're implementing pilot project. We test delivery of parcels and batches coming from China. Our income for January through March amounted to 1,800 million hryvnia, which is dozens of percent higher than for the entire 2014 year. And we should remind you that the previous year, we still had Crimea and Donetsk and Lugansk Oblast, which were big clients in terms of money transfers, in terms of deliveries of post cargoes. This is the reason why we are ready to make a statement that state companies or enterprises should be exclusively non-beneficial, and they naturally should bear some losses. We are ready to state that state enterprises can earn money, have sufficient profit, and we believe that this is right time for changes, and these changes are required. We are ready to make changes. Today I will describe new courier delivery, and today this modernized service proved to be very efficient. I've mentioned the profit, which was at the level of 13 million for the first quarter, which is 50% higher than in the previous year. This year started with the currency exchange rate fluctuations. This year has started with the sharp rise in petrol price, and despite all that negative facts, we managed to earn a profit. Also, we have introduced several new services. For example, we introduced transfers of currency for those enterprises which have the right to do this. Also, we have introduced more speedy post-delivery. This is actually revival of all the services which we used to have some time ago. And I believe that very soon those people who use our services will positively assess this new aspects of our work. Actually, every citizen of Ukraine uses services of Ukrposhta at least once a year. We believe that we can explicitly demonstrate that all our employees are socially protected in response to their efficient work. From May 1st, we will raise tariffs for written correspondence. I believe that this won't entail any negative results for ordinary people. This mainly will mean higher tariffs for enterprises. Unfortunately, we are forced to raise tariffs because we pay higher price for the petrol, we pay higher price to other resources, and all the income received in result of this raise in tariffs will be directed to the raise of wages. Also, we have signed contracts with central publishers and local publishers of the periodicals, and we have signed also contracts with the Vietnamese embassy in Ukraine. Why it was so important to have such contracts? Because we work with huge amounts of periodicals, and the bigger issue here is to ensure quality services in delivery of periodicals. So we are very much concerned about this aspect of our work, and for us the timely payments, timely transfers to publishing houses for delivery of their periodicals is also very important. This year we managed to settle our debts and our accounts with the publishing houses for the previous year within 2 months, and this is a huge success. Currently, we are settling our accounts and our debts to those publishing houses for the current year, and this is really positive result. Today, I am presenting not my work as executive director, but I'm also representing the teamwork of all our employees. We believe that positive trend will preserve.
Я думаю, что мы возьмем на себя.
I believe we are talking about the figures, so we will undertake the commitments to have a profitable year, 2015, plus 50 to 100 million hryvnia per year. I am sure that we are going to reach that figure. We have potentiality as compared to the damages or losses, minus 4 million. I'm not talking about the COPEX after, the SIMAL figures. This is a trend of our work for the future. Also would like to mention there are many frequently asked questions regarding corruption, which has been the case in our company and still there is it, but we have some positive trends. We are waging a very important fight to combat in our company. I would like to tell SBU of Ukraine and all other law enforcement agencies who respond to our letters and their information. Owing to their efforts today, the expenditures for the cloud server, and we used to pay 17 million hryvnia per year for the preservation of the database of our company. Today, after tender and actually dealing with the corruption component, we now pay 6.7 million hryvnia. The difference, 11 million hryvnia this year, given the present prices and the expenditures, this is the savings which we managed to achieve after audit with the involvement of the law enforcement agencies. And those expenditures which are associated with the programs, nobody knows who created those and nobody knows what for what period and why. Generally speaking, those programs, what for? And with that number, maybe 50% or something which we really need. The savings amounted to 8 million hryvnia. We introduced the changes in the logistics routes, the main routes, which allowed us to save 35 million hryvnia per year. But this doesn't tell upon the quality of our work or the duration of our delivery or terms. Today we are continuing the modernization and the transformation of logistic routes, which additionally will ensure 500,000 hryvnia savings this year in addition to 45 million which I mentioned before. Frequently asked questions include the, let's say, downsizing personnel, optimization, and let's say firing the people. Yes, we are going to do that. We are going to fire those people who cannot work and do not want to work, those who are just in a kind of dead weight, who do not bear any positive financial results for our company. Such people are subject to firing. Already about 20 people have been sacked, and so happened the majority of those people who have been fired. They are now under the focus of attention of the law enforcement agencies, since there are some of the already cases launched against those, and maybe there will be some really very interesting cases because those are guilty of inflicting such big damage over the last 2 years. You had to try to do a lot, to do that. Speaking about the Donetsk and Lugansk administration, who had to start from the scratch, I visited twice those regions. Latest time, about 2 weeks ago, when we opened the new branch in Slavyansk after the repair, and this is a big difference, believe me. The directorate of the administration has been restored from the scratch, as I mentioned before. The personnel, the motor vehicles, the computers were not available. They were all those remained in the uncontrolled by Ukraine territory today. So we provided everything necessary to restore and to revive those. And in the nearest future, both of the branches in the Donetsk and Lugansk region they will very soon have the profitable figures. And this means that they efficiently work, and the communication between the central administration and the local administration is rather good. But this is not enough. For the future, we plan, just for you to understand, we are working now with pensioners. We are the only company who deliver provide a high quality service and the delivery of pensions in very accurately in the specified terms. And the biggest problem are those remote regions. Even in Lugansk and Donetsk, we provide this timely delivery of pensions and paying of pensions. We also introduced the flow charts, which allowed us about 350,000 hryvnia to save 350,000 hryvnia per year. And maybe if you continue this along those lines, we will have the total economy about 100 million hryvnia by the end of this year. And this is what has been done by our team, by my personnel, those people who work in our company, given big dedication to work and big support to us. What other projects? The increase of the salaries. This is a major function which we would like to introduce, and we are working on this issue. Also, we're going to work to preserve the jobs, because I'm sure the preservation of jobs means or spells the increase in the quality of work, increase of the scope of work, and we are going to provide new services, and there is good prospects for that. Because there is a trend that we are going to increase the scope of our work. We are not going to downsize the personnel or to fire the personnel. We are going to optimize the work of those people who remained after we fired those balanced, I would say. And we are going to bring the salary to a very decent level. And our people have to take special pride in that they are part of our company. I'm sorry, in January this year, we were the first in Ukraine who presented the procedure of the tender procurement in very transparent online mode, and this tendency continues today as well. We are visiting the electronic platforms in order to diminish the corruption component and to remove the human factor in decision making. If we're talking about the tender procedures or the orders, and make the procedure of procurement and purchase honest, integral, and transparent. We already mentioned the procedures which we introduced, purchasing the cloud service, and already this economy 11 million hryvnia. Then we are going to purchase the transportation vehicles, because today we are using outdated, very old automobiles, which is very dangerous and hazardous. We are going to buy this year, we plan to buy this year new motor vehicles. Well, the number of the new vehicles will depend upon our profits and stability in our country, because the stability in our country tells upon the creditability of our country. If everything's okay, we'll be able to buy new vehicles. Corporate, we are going to attract new corporate customers, new kind of services like post-mats, and when we succeed in something that you'll hear new information from myself or some of my deputies. Again, we are working along the lines of the energy savings. We haven't ever had any programs like that in the past. We are going to provide control over the tender purchases and the, let's say, expedient expenditures, the expenses of our money. So anybody who would like to be part of this kind of public council, please join us, and we are going together to control over spending of the money. Today, the Scientific Council resumed its work, which practically have not been working for the last 2 years, only for some of the decisions to be made, but not really the decisions which were necessary or badly needed by our company. Those are just some of the trends which are going to ensure the integral, honest, transparent, and one most work or enterprise, and what is most important, open to anyone, because we are public enterprise, public company, and what is being done in the public company must be seen and open to anybody who would like to see how we are working. The figures which I mentioned today, we are working on those figures today. Today, I go on a business trips in different regions and districts, and the major task over those business trips is to listen and hear the people, to talk to different personnel, different companies, and see how our people work. Unfortunately, our people have to work under very difficult conditions, overhauls, lack of computers, lack of different other equipment are those problems which we encountered today, and we are going to fight and to overcome those problems. Lack of the professionals who can provide the high quality work in the on the local levels in the regions, and the number of our about 8 or 9 enterprises who are not profitable today. Why I'm not give these approximate figures? Because we don't have the accurate information. Yes, maybe in 2 or 3 days we'll have the accurate figure, which I can share with you, based on the results of the work of the directors of the regional branches. Based on the results, we are going to take the decisions regarding the personnel. Because some of the directorates or administrations, when they show the losses for 1 month, 1 million hryvnia losses, this is not acceptable for our company, whereas all the rest of the branches or the offices work with some profits. We are talking about new directors, new rules and regulations of the work of our company. Those problems which we face today, we can resolve by joining our efforts together with our personnel and with a clear understanding on the part of the mass media and the adequate work, joint work, to resolve those issues, outstanding issues which are created not by the society so much as the politicians, which can politicize, over-politicize any very good, let's say, initiative. And this is true about any kind of company here. We are blessed that the wisdom is enough today. We have enough wisdom to find the compromises and to make progress and to further develop ourselves and our company. Somebody already showed me that my time is close to expire. So maybe so if you would like to have the question and answer sessions, it's better to switch over to questions and answer questions for the lack of time. I believe that maybe answering the questions, you continue your information or your report. Colleagues, do we have any questions? So, okay, speak please into microphone and give. Good afternoon, Tatiana Martynuk, Corporate Publication. Igor Vitalyevich, in your report, you mentioned the decrease of the expenses. Do you mean by that the downsizing of our personnel? And one more question. Do you pay timely and good time the salary to your personnel? Thank you very much for your questions. This is really a very urgent and topical issue, salary and downsizing the personnel. I already mentioned about the decrease of number of the personnel. We are not going to fire the personnel just for the figures or whatever. We are going to fire only those managers or managerial staff from the general directorate or the regional directorate, only those people who are not capable of work under new conditions and show the positive trends of development of our company, which must be, let's say, reflected in specific figures in the income of our companies and taxes we're going to pay. When in general aspects, I can boast here, but we have here the trade union leader, Mr. Starodub, maybe he can give you a better idea whether we pay salaries in good time or not. In good time, okay, please tell us. Well, in this case, if you would like to say something, and maybe you can just stand next to our reporter and tell us, because again, if you're talking about the salaries and social function as a rule, the managers say one thing, and then the trade unions give different opinion. So I'll be grateful if you can give a short answer. I may say that the differences, well, we are blessed with not having difference in opinion with our managers today, because in the past we did have those. I would like to say that today the managerial staff of our company, they work in trade union, work in close contact, in close cooperation. The most important that we achieve a normal moral atmosphere and environment in all the components and the units of our enterprise or our company, because it's very much ramified structure. Igor did mention that we have more than 12,000 units, including those that are located in countryside, and this is a very difficult task to manage such a ramified system. But I must say that today's managers cope with that task. Regarding the salary, I must say that speaking about the salary, this is a very low one. This is the lowest, I would say, in the national economy. And the average salary today, based on the results of the first quarter of this year, is a bit 1,900 hryvnia, but it grew 6.5% as compared to the average figure for the last year. Well, we do not have today. We do not face the issue today of paying any problems paying the salary. According to the corporate agreement, it's paid for twice a month. There is no violation of the provisions of that collective agreement or corporate agreement, and we had a very specific discussion of that issue. Only for this expired quarter, we somewhat increased, despite the fact that the financial or the fiscal plan of our company hasn't been approved yet. We increased the amounts of the money we spent for the social services for our personnel, which amount to more than 13 million hryvnia. Thank you.
Maxim Arslanov, Internet Portal. Speaking about the project with China. Actually, that project was designed some 18 months ago. What prevented this project from full-fledged functioning, and why you have made this now? What prevented it from functioning? One of our co-directors unfortunately quit from the private structures which was involved to the implementation of this contract, and these spoiled personal relations prevented this project from functioning. It took me 2 months in the office to start up the project, and this resulted in 600 parcels from China during the first year. Actually, the previous leadership actually supported interests of private structures which deal with transportation from China, but this is the matter for prosecutors of my question is related to the fact that Ukrposhta is a strategic social entity. My question is about corporatization. Is there any threat that the corporatization of Ukrposhta will be similar to the Ukrtelecom when the state company became simply private property? Thank you for the question. I agree with you that Ukrtelecom corporatization finished with Ukrtelecom's privatization, and today they experience lockouts, and this raises actually a question. Unfortunately, today we, as a state company, have some disadvantages in the market. We cannot make decisions at the corporate level quickly enough to compete with the other private companies. But I would like to be very clear here that corporatization, in my opinion, means 100% of property of our company belonging to the state, 100% interest in the company belonging to the state, without the right for further privatization. Why I make this statement? We have a huge network of local units. We have a huge amount of land in our property. And before any further modernization activities, we should get property right certificates for all the land plots in order to prevent disappearance of some land plots, premises, some sorts of property, some assets in course of privatization. My task is to do everything possible to ensure just and fair and honest privatization. That's why the legislation about corporatization of Ukrposhta should clearly contain provision that this corporatization should be held without further privatization. There are a lot of types. There are many types of contracts which could be signed with Ukrposhta without having any interest in its capital. Marina Fishenka, could you please describe in more detail corruption schemes in Ukrposhta? I think this is very important. We are trying to curb corruption again and again, and we cannot abolish it. So our anti-corruption effort should include all members of our enterprise. It also should involve mass media and also persecution bodies. We have the software programs. 64 million was spent several years ago for purchase of special software allowing to control all the finance, and in course of that purchase 32 million disappeared. And then we have discovered that one of our employees, deputy directors in our IT department, having access to the cloud technology, have ruined the financial system. It took us 4 days to restore this financial system. The prosecutor's office started investigation. Also, there are investigation operations in terms of some other employees. Another big loophole for corruption, these are purchase and public procurement tenders in internet, which are shown in YouTube. We have development a special document which will prevent from any possible appearance of corruption schemes. Our objective is to prevent establishment of any corruption schemes. We have done a huge amount of work. Out of that 100 million, which we managed to save due to new logistics solution, due to saving on transportation, due to saving on fuels, and also we managed to cut off unnecessary expenses for the enterprise. When I say unnecessary costs, this means that these were corruption schemes. We used to pay to 20, 30 companies on monthly basis. Thus, we had to pay 59,000 hryvnia to a company which had to resume IT supply company. And when I tried to reveal what the operation was about, it turned to be that it was just pressing the button to restart computer. This shows that full contact with our employees, with people who are consumers of our services, and those companies who are broad users of our services, we will be able to reform this